Communities affected by the devastating floods that killed at least 448 people in the eastern city of Durban in South Africa are trying to salvage whatever is left of their belongings as search and rescue operations continue to find missing persons. Sadele's 2 homes were ripped apart by floods caused by the torrential rains last week. His family is still distraught after the incident. My mother has just completed rebuilding her home with the money she received after her father died. I don't think she'll be able to rebuild this house in the standard that she would have wanted. My mother is deeply hurt by what has happened. Lately, she can't even sit down. She keeps walking around. She's trying to put the pieces together. Joint civilian and military search team are still recovering corpses from the debris more than a week after the disaster struck. So far, 400 soldiers were deployed out of 10,000 promised. The survivors, on the other hand, are desperate for basic services to be restored.
We have never experienced a disaster like this here in South Africa, so people are still in a state of shock. They are looking at government to come to their aid. As an asset of the state, we are here to assist the people. There are certain areas which are difficult to reach in terms of using a vehicle, but at least we are now happy that we've got a capability that can be in a position to transport us there and so that we can do what is required to do.
Several areas are still inaccessible, hampering the delivery of relief aid after bridges and roads cracked under the weight of the worst floods to hit the country in living memory. The army is bringing in doctors, electricians and specialist workers. The focus would now be on clearing roads to allow the movement of goods and transport.
Dozens of health workers in Senegal went on strike on Thursday to protest at charges filed against 6 midwives accused of negligence in a death that sparked nationwide anger. The National Association of Midwives and several other groups in the health sector say they were joining a work stoppage ranging from 1 to 3 days. We think that what is happening in this country cannot continue because the hospitals are like warehouses. You go there and you are stressed. When your wife is pregnant, you are worried because you are moving from one hospital to another and be told there is no room. When you arrive at the health facilities, you are neglected until sometimes your child loses their life or your wife loses her life. According to sources, the woman had repeatedly pleaded with the doctors to perform a cesarean section, but the hospital refused her request on the grounds that the operation had not been scheduled and threatened to expel her if she kept insisting on the procedure. This collective remains mobilized to demand justice for us too, Sokna. This collective remains attentive to a fair and equitable judicial and administrative follow-up to this drama, and henceforth, for all similar cases, the collective invites all users to denounce any form of injustice and abuse experienced in health institutions. Sokna and the baby died on April 1st after a reported 20-hour wait, provoking an outpouring of anger and vow by President Macky Sall to investigate their deaths. Guinea's ousted President Alpha Conde is finally free and can receive visitors. The junta who overthrew him confirmed on Saturday. Conde became Guinea's first democratically elected president in 2010, but the 84-year-old was deposed by army officers last year and replaced by Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya. He was allowed to go to the United Arab Emirates for medical treatment in January, coming back to Guinea on April 10. His party, Rally of the Guinean People, also known as RPG, has said that he was not truly free before or after his trip and demanded his total and unconditional freedom. To back up his call, the RPG suspended his participation at the junta-organized National Reconciliation Conference in protest at his detention. A statement from the junta said Conde will stay at his wife's house in the capital Conakry until his own private house is constructed in the suburb of Kipe. Doumbouya, who has been sworn in as interim president, has promised to restore civilian rule but resisted international pressure to commit to a date.
Former Botswana President Ian Khama was summoned to appear before a court on Thursday to face multiple criminal charges. The former president was accused, along with 3 others, including an ex-intelligence chief, a former police commissioner and an ex-deputy permanent secretary. All 3 face a total of 38 charges. Illegal possession of firearms is one of the criminal charges faced by the former president. Ian Khama ruled Botswana between 2008 and 2018. In November 2021, the former president went into a self-imposed exile in South Africa. The court summons against the former president comes ahead of current President Masisi's planned meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa in Pretoria on Friday. Kenya has announced that it will host a meeting between rebels in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the government in Kinshasa. The announcement was made on Thursday after a meeting of leaders from Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda and the DRC that met in Nairobi to discuss violence by armed groups in the DRC. The meeting takes place after the DRC joined the Community of East African States at the end of March. According to Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, during Thursday's meeting, the leaders sought to establish a regional force to neutralize armed groups in the region. Recent fighting in eastern DRC has pitted government forces against rebels from the M23 movement, a group that emerged from the Congolese Tutsi rebellion. Another rebel group active in eastern DRC, the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, is also accused of carrying out attacks that have cost thousands of lives, as well as planting a series of bombs in Uganda's capital, Kampala.